Hello, people who think I have abandoned them. So let me start with the purpose of this video before I talk about some other stuff you might not care about. So I haven't been posting much about the Champion of Rome, and that may lead some of you, and I haven't been talking back to you about any submissions for some of the join team stuff. That may lead you to think I have abandoned you, but I am here to say I have not abandoned you. I have been working grueling away, spending every free moment for the past 3 months working on animation. It's been very grueling, but I have stuff that I've been completing. Is my glasses glaring up? I can't exactly tell if my glasses are glaring up. I didn't want so much like lighting, different lighting in here. I kind of just wanted fill lighting, but I see I have some kicker coming from that over there. I have some kicker coming from that direction, and I hope that's not giving me any rim lighting back there. You know, because when you're showing a project, you just kind of want to show the work you've been doing. You kind of just want fill lighting for that, but I think I have a lot of different lighting things going on here, which I'd rather not. I have new curtains since it was really dark, so I brought in some extra lights, but hopefully it's more fill and less kicker and rim than you would want for a YouTube video. So I have been working on animation, however I've not been working on the Champion of Rome. Now, I did some writing ahead with the Champion of Rome. I've written, I guess, the equivalent. It's been in movie form what I've been working on, but I've written the equivalent of, I'd say, of the first season out script-wise, and even though I'd probably go back after the first episode and completely rewrite the second episode, and I wasn't very satisfied with the writing I was getting, the writing I was making, so I decided, you know, this is kind of regretful. I don't really like this work I've done. I kind of think differently about it now. So I've kind of changed directions. I'm weighing a few other projects, working a little bit on them. But I'm going to be posting less about my projects. Yeah, Darby, we don't want to post on social media about our progress. No, Darby, we don't want to post on social media about our progress. So one of the problems I was getting with the Champion of Rome is that it was very, very time consuming to post a lot about it. I was talking to my dog just then. You might have seen her earlier in the video, you might not have, depending on when I cut in. So I realized that I've been posting too much about it. It's been taking a lot of time posting about it on social media and on YouTube. So and then on the website trying to recruit a team. So it's gotten to the point, or it had gotten to the point where I was spending a lot of effort posting about it and not much work was getting done. So I've kind of flipped the tables on that. I'm not posting nearly as much, and I'm getting stuff done. Kind of unplugged myself from social media and from the internet. You know, I've kind of taken the plug off, and I'm really drinking in some productivity here, feeling better. I'm no longer tethered to social media. I'm free. I'm unleashed myself on the animation now. So I'm not going to be posting nearly as much about this next project I'm working on. I think I'll just post a trailer like a week before it's actually coming out. Because yeah, Darby, these teasers aren't working. People just kind of want to go with it. Oh, is the camera a little crooked here? I tried to align it with the couch, but I think it might be a little bit crooked. I think I kind of did a Hausner with it, you know. If you're an Ninjago person, PJ Hausner, the director. Yeah, he's done a lot of good work, but his camera angles are a little bit funny at times, especially with that car chase scene at the beginning of Season 8, Sons of Gormadon. It was like, he had this weird camera angle when they were going over the half bridge. Yeah, going over a half bridge. And yeah, I remember that. And it's kind of a neat curse sequence because it got me thinking, you know, I kind of want to work on a Ninjago project. Like, this is something that's really good to work on. You know, I didn't want to work on something, I had a fan fix, but I really wasn't working on an animation project after The Hands of Time, but after The Sons of Garmadon, I was like, you know, I gotta get into this. And I posted, I guess, my first video of animation, that thing of Woo, that people didn't even know it was possible with, and they said so when Hunted was airing. You know, it seemed just like the right time to do it. You know, it didn't need to happen earlier. It shouldn't have happened later. That was the moment to do it. Also, one of the things I unplugged myself for social media from is, other than being a good person, is that, and not being on social media as much, is that getting a team together really wasn't proving very fruitful. Sure, I was getting some people interested, and you know, it just wasn't. It seemed like the amount of effort putting forward versus the amount of work getting done wasn't working. Like, a lot of the people who wanted to work aren't like me and can work, you know, all day on animation. They were people that have other important duties going on. You know, gotta go to school, gotta go to work, gotta take care of the world in these other ways. And kind of like animation was just a thing to do on the side to kind of help the world out even more, because we need animation, we need good stories like Ninjago. We need stories in our world like that. So, and also people weren't very interested in getting involved in a project that they really didn't fully understand, and they didn't want to invest time in something that they really didn't know, like, what they were getting out of it. You know, were they getting like the fame they were looking for? So it seemed that it was just people weren't willing to give time to something they didn't fully understand, and they didn't fully understand it and their relationship to it. So I do want to get a team together for this new project, but only after the first episode. I've kind of had my family and friends working together on this first episode, because I don't want to be posting about it too much. But after the first episode, I'll have something in the credits about joining the team, kind of get a team together then, because I will need new voices for episode 2 when more characters are coming in, because I think new characters are coming in. Oh, and I have written more ahead for this show and done a lot of sample scripting for it, and I think it's a lot more flexible. The other thing I'm doing differently with this project is I'm trying to reduce turnaround time, total production time. I'm trying to get rendering a full episode, a full 22-minute episode, down to 11 days. And for some of you, you're probably laughing, like, 11 days, that's ridiculous for 22 minutes. But even at 4K resolution, and you'll notice a lot of animation studios, even in the industry, you know, the industrialists, you know, it's still 2K or full HD resolution. It's not Ultra HD resolution as the industry standard for animation, even though a lot of live action's going to 4K, Ultra HD, is because rendering in 4K just takes a lot of system resources, takes a lot of RAM to actually push it through, and then forget about that, you also have rendering time. I mean, it could honestly take months to render at 4K on a system that doesn't have good rendering time. Good CPU or GPU or whatever you're rendering on, or a mixture of the two, which is kind of neat. So, and a lot of the reason the industry hasn't done it is because they want their good turnaround times, and it's not. Well, and I want good turnaround times too. Yeah, Dorby, we want good turnaround times. Yeah, Dorby, we want good turnaround times. Even big movies like How to Train Your Dragon 3, which is really big this year, it was rendered natively at 4K. I mean, at 2K at full HD. It was only upscaled to 4K Ultra HD for the 4K Blu-ray release, and maybe the cinematic release too. But the point was, the actual rendering from the animation software was full HD, but then the release was upscaled in a video editing software to Ultra HD. And that's what a lot of the even 4K movie releases are doing. So I think it's very legendary to be able to render at 4K, because not even the industry can do it, or the industry doesn't want to do it. It wouldn't be very fruitful to them. Which is, if you look at the statistics, a little bit above 50% of American households now have 4K TVs. So I think it's looking more and more promising. I think it would have good returns if any studio, fan, or industry were to release a project in 4K. I think it would be very legendary and work very well, especially one that puts a lot of effort into their animation and spends months and months on a single set or a single prop. It's amazing. People working around the clock on it. So I'm trying to get rendering time down to 11 days, which one thing I do like about rendering time, even if it's very depressing, the actual numbers, is that the math is easy. So there's 24 hours in a day, there's 24 frames a second, there's 60 minutes in an hour, and there's 60 seconds in a minute. So basically rendering a 1 minute a frame is a day for a minute. So to render at 11 days for a 22-minute episode means getting it down to half a minute for a frame, which for some of you who might be in the industry watching this, like, we send it to a rendering firm and get it done in a couple of days. Or less, I guess, depending if the animation quality is less. But for rendering on a single computer, that is ambitious. But I've been cutting a lot of corners, but you can only cut so much corners before you're cutting the whole cake in half. So you just kind of want to be careful about that. I've been playing around a lot with cycles and Eevee, trying to render most of the backgrounds in cycles for the dialogue scenes where there's a lot of talking going on, but not much complex action, rendering those in 4K. Cycles, by the way, is Blender's, I guess, more photorealistic rendering engine. It takes into account scientific principles on light, and Eevee, the other major rendering engine for Blender that comes natively with Blender, is the more video game. It uses a lot of graphics technology that in GPU coding that video games use, so it's able to go much faster because video game industry is very fast rendering, because obviously when you're playing a game it's coming up very quick. It's not as photorealistic though. So I've been playing around a lot for the dialogue scenes where the camera's not moving and maybe you have a 2-shot or a 3-shot, having the character's background be rendered in 4K, because the viewer is spending a lot of time, 4K cycles, the viewer is spending a lot of time looking at it, so I kind of want it to be more photorealistic. And then for the action sequences, rendering the background in Eevee, because it's going by much faster, and all the character animation happening in Eevee, because of course that's going to be pretty much updating every frame. So I've been playing around a lot with composition, trying to get a working shadow catcher in Eevee is what I've been doing recently, so the characters had to have shadows. It's been something. So I've been trying to increase turnaround time, because eventually with this project, or whatever project I work on, I actually get a first episode done, is after the first season or so, I want to get production time for an episode down to 1 month. From 1 month from beginning the script to the completed episode. So that's kind of why I want to get rendering time down to 11 days. It's very ambitious. So yeah, good turnaround time is important to me. I think it's important to the work I'm trying to do with Updraftia Studios. But that probably won't come until after the first season, because rendering and just all the production steps take a while. It'll take a while to get a team together. So yeah, sorry about the Champion of Rome. I know it wasn't high on anybody's list. They were just kind of like, oh, this, you know, and I admit this. It was like, oh, this looks mature. This looks cool. It looks like something that's very serious. And I think one of the problems I was having with the scripts, with the sample scripts I was doing, is that they were very dry as far as comedy. And you'll notice with the script I have for this first episode of this other show, the comedy is much more, I guess, pointed and funny, actually. I'm definitely kind of trying to turn down the maturity. I think it's not enough to seem mature, but not actually have a message that's very on point happening. And that's one of the things I think Ninjago does great, even though it's not per se very high-end entertainment. That the meta and stuff going on is very great. So thanks for watching. I don't really have a time schedule for when you'll be seeing more content, but I guess you should stay tuned. I really don't want to end the video like, you can ignore me for a little while. But yeah, I guess you can ignore me for a little while.